shadow. So what do you mean by shadow? Might be you have seen these kind of shadows in your daily life. So what is a shadow? Shadow is a darkness caused by a opaque object. For example, whenever we are having a source of light and in between the source of light one opaque object is there. So what this opaque object will do? Opaque object will block the light rays into it. It will not allow the light rays to pass through it. So whenever light rays are going to block by the opaque object, in that case shadows form. And shadows always need a screen in order to make. Clear? The shadow is only the darker region of the opaque object. Black or grey color is there of the shadow, which does not contain any color and does not give any information about the object. So during the formation of a shadow, three conditions must be fulfilled. What are these three conditions? See carefully. First of all, we should have a source of light. If there is a source of light, in that case only shadows are formed. Even though if we are having point source of light also, in that case also shadows are formed, and shadows are formed very like proper shadows are formed by a point source of light. Second condition we are having, second condition is an opaque object must be there. In between the light rays of the source of light, there should be an opaque object. That opaque object will block the light rays, and after blocking the light rays, there must be a screen where the shadows are going to form. Screen must be there. Whenever screen is there, in that case whenever opaque object is going to block the light from the source of light, the blocking of the light ray by the opaque object will cast a shadow on a screen. So three conditions must be fulfilled. In that three conditions only the formation of shadow will be there, otherwise no shadow is there. So now only we have studied about the shadow. Actually, whatsoever shadows are there, that shadows always contain two parts. What are that two parts? First part is we are having umbra. What do you mean by umbra? For example, here we are having a source of light, and in between the source of light and the screen we are having an opaque object. Whenever the light rays from the source of light are going to strike on the opaque object, these light rays are going to block by the opaque object. Whatsoever light rays are going to blocked by the opaque object, in that case umbra, or we can say darker shadow, is going to form. That darker shadow is nothing but called a umbra. And these light rays are there which are going to partially move from the opaque object. Means these light rays are not going to block by the opaque object. Whenever light rays are partially moving from the opaque object, in that case lighter shadows are formed, and these lighter shadows are known as penumbra. So what do you mean by umbra? Umbra is the inner part of the shadow which is completely dark. This is known as umbra, and actually no light reach in this umbra region. But if we are talking about penumbra, penumbra is a partial darkness. Might be you are seeing this partial darkness. Actually partial darkness is surrounds the umbra. In the surrounding of umbra we are having the penumbra, and here in the penumbra region some light rays always reach in this region. So next topic we are having shadow formed by a point source of light. For example, when we are having a point source of light, what kind of shadow is going to form by a point source of light? So in a point source of light, these kind of radiations are going to move. These kind of light radiations are there. So in a point source of light, actually whatsoever light radiations are there, these all light radiations are going to block by the opaque object, because in a point source of light few light rays are there, and these few light rays are going to block by the opaque object. Whenever all the light radiations are going to block by the opaque object, in that case full-fledged umbra is there and no penumbra is there. Okay, so whenever a light coming from a point source of light falls on an opaque object, the shadow is uniformly dark. Means from the upside till the downside uniformly dark shadows form, and there is a sharp edges at the end of umbra. Only sharp edges are there. Means here also like this, and here also same kind of shape is there. As the shape of object, same shape of the shadow or umbra is going to form. And here in this case, whenever from the point source of light shadow is going to form, in that case only umbra forms, but here penumbra is absent. Next topic we are having shadow formed by a light source smaller than that of object. If we are taking smaller light source and we are taking larger object, what is going to happen in this case? See carefully. Actually in this case both umbra and penumbra are going to form. For example, here I am having a opaque object which is larger as compared to the source of light. Here I am having source of light smaller as compared to the opaque object. Whenever the light radiation from the point source of light is going to fall on an opaque object, in this case both umbra and penumbra forms. Okay, both umbra and penumbra is going to form whenever we are taking the smaller source of light as compared to the opaque object. But yes, if we are taking the screen away from that of the opaque object, in that case both umbra and penumbra is going to increase. Here you can see whenever we are taking the screen away from opaque object, whenever we are having small source of light, and the opaque object we are having larger. But in this case I have took the screen backside. means distance increases. Okay, so in that case umbra as well as penumbra size is going to increase. So now in this case I am going to take the opposite, means I am going to see that how shadows formed by a light source larger than that of opaque object. See carefully. Whenever I am taking the larger source of light, here I am having larger source of light and opaque object I am having smaller. So in that case what is going to happen? In this case also both umbra and penumbra is going to form. Here also umbra is there and penumbra is there, but you can see the size of umbra is small than that of penumbra. Umbra is small and penumbra is large. This is a penumbra, outer region. Partial darkness is more and inner darkness is less, or umbra is less. Okay, so but whenever I'm taking the screen away from that of opaque object, in that case the size of umbra means very much decreasing, gradually decreasing. Whenever I'm taking screen away from that of opaque object, in that case umbra is going to decrease very much and penumbra increases. And now in this case I took the screen very away from that of opaque object, means here also I'm having a larger source of light, here also I'm having a larger source of light, but in this case you can see umbra is there and little bit penumbra is there. Okay, umbra and penumbra both are there. But if I'm taking the screen very much away from that of opaque object, in that case, so here in this case if I'm taking the screen very much away from that of opaque object, see carefully what is going to happen here. So beyond the point, whenever I'm taking the screen very much away from the opaque object, here the size of umbra is going to decrease very much, and whenever we are taking screen away and away from the opaque object, in that case penumbra become too much large, and when it become too much large means here penumbra is going to faint, or it is not going to visible that much. Because of this reason only, whenever birds or aeroplanes are flying in the sky, we are not going to see the shadow on the earth's surface. Why? Because they are very far away from that of the screen, or the source of light is very far away from that of object and the screen. That is why the penumbra or the umbra is very much faint or too much large. If they are too much large, we are not able to see that much shadow cast on the earth. Okay.